a picture. And I don't know whether I can share this with people at home. I might be able to pop the file into somewhere. Let's see. But I want to show you guys this picture. It's tough for people at home. So come and have a look at this picture. I don't know whether you can do that on YouTube. How do you do that on YouTube? Share screen. Oh wow. Okay. There you go. Wow. You look at that. So this is the pelvis. Here is your iliac crest. You can put your hand on that quite easily. And these other bits, not so easy to grab hold of, but we are going to try today. So
easier for me than y'all.
Either side of your dingly danglies, there's a little bone that you can kind of feel there, and then when you're sitting down, you'll feel this down here, your sits bones. Ischial tuberosities, yes indeed. Someone actually did make this stuff up at some point. So, but this connecting point around the socket, the triradiate cartilage, when you're developing in the womb, this is indeed a cartilage. It's flibbly-flobbly, but then by the time I think it's a medical term, yeah. But by the time that you're, I think it's 12 for lady people, and 14 for male people, male types, this is pretty much solid. But
by the age.
By the age of that, yeah. But this is the proposal for today, because your the head of your femur comes into here and is held snugly, very happily, ball and socket. Probably closest thing to a ball and socket that the body has here at this point. And the idea today, using the blocks, is to just give a sensation of the connection between these points and the floor. So these points, and when you're lying your back, this point. So that's what we'll be playing with today. I'm going to stop sharing now. It's okay because I don't think many people are watching anyway, but there you go, it's out there. So I'll show you what we're going to be doing just real briefly. So the first part of this is going to be the normal lying in constructive rest, and then just going to do a little bit of arm relaxation to make sure that's going on the go. Then you're going to extend, creepy crawly one of the feet out, and then you're going to take the block and put that underneath the iliac crest there. And in that position, you're just going to sit there and listen to what that feels like. Then, reach around if you can and you're going to have the other 2 points, the sits bones and that pubic bone, and you're just going to imagine bringing all 3 points together around the head of the femur. You just to imagine you're just bringing those 3 points together so that it sits more snugly. It's like an invitation to remember that triradiate cartilage coming together. And then just going to sink down further onto here and bring your knee up, and then invite this to come into here. Just real gentle, nothing important. So you're going to play with that. Then we'll do the same on the other side, and then extend both, and extend this up here, roll over to one side, and there's just going to be a little bit of talking to the trochanter to come into the pelvis. Then I'm going to lie on the front and place the block. Can you see this? Place the block under the pelvis there. And play with, you remember this? You remember this where the foot shunts along this way and the foot shunts along that way? So as this comes in, this can go. You can also turn the foot and feel how that turns the femur. Then bring this further in so it also includes the pubic bone, and walk this up to the side. And if you need more contact with the pubic, the ilial crest and the floor, you can turn the block onto the side or get more books. And you're just going to explore this movement here. And then we'll remove the block and you'll just see how that feels. It's great fun.
Sounds cool.
I'm just going to say, don't overdo it. The idea is a reminder of connection rather than yoga. Yoga, or going, I don't know, expecting big clicks, or like chiropractic clunks. Extreme stretch. It is not. It really is talking to bones and inviting integration. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. The act of being on all fours is inviting the femur to come into the weight of the pelvis here. And we'll just continue the theme of integration all the way up into vertical. I'm going to do it with you for the most part, and then I'll do hands-on as we go, and you can of course tell me that you don't need that, or that you just tell me no if you're not into that today. All right. Sleeping is always an option. Doing absolutely nothing. It was to teach you that as an adult you don't get naps. Not in England, it isn't. Nap time is wasted time. siesta. And then open them pretty much till 2 in the morning. So, laying in constructive rest, let the fingers lie long on the lower ribs. Let the wrists rest easy. Ask yourself whether the undulation of your breath is the undulation of your rib cage, or whether it's the undulation of the bones in your arm that is creating the undulation of your rib cage. See if you can sense the wave of your breath spreading down the length of your arms and down the length of your spine. Slow your breath and allow it to come through the nose. On the in-breath, bring your mind's eye or your observing self to the point at the back of the head. Listen for tension. Allow the connection to the planet to inform your imagination about that tension. And then on the out breath, invite release. And let that release act as a catalyst for release all across all the muscles and the bones of the skull. Let the in-breath itself invite release down the back of the nasal passage, down through the throat, into the undulating of the rib cage. And bring your mind's eye to the points of the shoulder blades. Imagine lengthening and widening across the shoulder blades and across the clavicles, across the shoulder girdle. And bring your mind's eye to the points of the elbows. As you bring your mind's eye to the points of the elbows, luxuriate in the lengths of your fingers, your bones leading up to your fingers, the widening across the shoulder blades. It's okay if I use my hands. And then As you release your wrist bones, see if you can sense the relationship with your ankles and the back of your head, your neck. So as you feel release there, you feel release in those places as well as a reflex. Then you can bring your mind's eye to the points of the pelvis that are in contact with the floor. And you can imagine those points widening or even extending away from the point at the back of the head. So there is this sense that as the bones all the way down the spine settle in response to contact with the planet, there is also a sense of releasing to lengthen. All the way down from the top of the head to the tail. And then you can bring your mind's eye to the points in contact of the feet, the heel, point behind the big toe, point behind the little toe. And you can invite spreading and opening and the translation of weight through the bones, up through the shin bone. That contact point with the femur becomes like a bridge that is extending away. And now you can just let the ends of the fingers extend up to the ceiling. And this is just an idea of knowing that you can move the hands, move and extend through the wrist in such a way that you don't have to use the larger muscles. You can really connect with the internal supportive muscles, inviting growth away from the body. Utilizing the down as well as the up. Feeling the very tips of the fingers search and quest for the ceiling. And then as you continue this quest, see if you can release the pectorals, the major muscles of the shoulder girdle, so that you're still inviting widening despite this movement. So Raymond Dart is always referring to noticing tension so that you can release. So as a movement takes place, the outcome is release, not tension. Of course, a muscle has to contract in order to do, but how the muscle is coordinated with support is the thing that you are exploring here. So just bring your elbows down and your hands just resting on your ribs, and the wrists just relaxing, supported by the rise and fall of your ribs. See if you can just bring your mind to the width of your shoulder girdle. And then you're going to begin to creep forward. One of your feet is going to creep forward to extend. And then if you have that block handy, I'm just going to pop that block under the pelvis of the bent leg. Just under the iliac crest. Is that too high? Is that all right?
Different.
It's different.
Right here.
Yep.
Take this one out.
If you can stay in that position, if that block is cool, and just keep that block there, yeah. And then you can then ask if you feel comfortable enough, you can, with the block there, bring your hand down to that pubic bone, and also down under into the sits bone, and just ask those 3 points to come together around the head of the femur. Imagining those 3 bits of the bone fusing. So there is an aspect of this where you are asking for deep bone security in the pelvis. You can also just bring the end of the finger to the greater trochanter, the sticky out bit, and the finger on your pubic bone, and see if you can just ask them to integrate, to come together. Fascinating thing about the pubic bone, the pubic synthesis, is this really interesting relationship between the pubic synthesis and the sacrum. See what information you get through the block into that that connection in the socket. Oh. And then very, very, very easy, just sink into the pelvis and bring the knee up. And it doesn't have to be very far, just a tiny bit. And use the weight of the femur once again to get that, to get the head of the femur to come into the socket. And then using your best use, just lower the leg down. You can have your hand behind the thigh, lower your leg down, and let the foot come and land on the floor. And then just remove the block. You can pop it behind your head if you haven't got a block there. And note how both sides feel. Note what has changed. And then begin to creepy crawly that foot forward to length. Notice the difference between one foot and the other, and creepy crawly the other foot back up to being folded. Take the block from under your head or the book and place it under the iliac crest on the other side. And you can play the same game on the other side. So feeling the pubic bone and the sits bones, ischial tuberosity, and invite those places to come together. And bear in mind that this is an imagined exercise, but inside the bones there's nerve information. Also, you are dealing with the lowest chakra, which is about a certain energetic and I'll say dealing with security and support. So you are telling yourself that everything is all right in a very, very fundamental way. Really connecting the pelvis to the ground through the block. And then invite you just to bring the knee up just a little bit. And just see if you can encourage the femur to come into that socket place to integrate. And then lower the leg. Feel the foot extend on the floor and remove the block. Huh? Going too quickly. I'm sorry. No, I know. And you know, this is something that someone said to me in a dart class the other day, and I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna say this at the beginning of every class. Now I'm trying to develop a habit right now. That is, if you come across something that you really need to explore, sit in it. Forget all the other stuff that I say. You know, the whole point is personal exploration, and that these are just prompts. So yeah. And if you like, just extend the other foot out to length. And so here you can bring the arm up above the head along the floor. So you're going to roll onto that now. So looking in a particular direction under the armpit or whichever side you wish to roll onto, and letting the head look, the heart follow, the pelvis come onto the side. And when you're on your side, there is this this connection of the greater trochanter there on the floor, which you can use the weight of the pelvis once more to invite integration. And as you feel the integration, you know, let that integration extend down the leg and up the side, so there is a sense of release. So on the out breath as well, let the sigh allow the rib cage to just sink into the floor. And then look the other way over the other shoulder. Bring the arm overhead and continue looking so that you can roll over onto the other side and listen to the trochanter on that side. And then you can continue over onto your front. You may have to shunt a little bit onto the towel. And you're going to take your block and place it underneath the pelvis on one side. Now, I invite you to do completely prone in this, but if that's uncomfortable, you turn the head to look on the side that the block is. And then while the pelvis is supported here, just bring the foot, imagine the foot is, the heel is looking for the ceiling, and then just waggle that foot side to side, draw a little pattern across the ceiling, and then let the foot fall towards the center and slide the knee towards the center. Bring the foot towards the center and slide the knee towards the center. Bring the foot towards the center and slide the knee towards the center. Eventually, the knee will get to the center and you just let the foot dangle out to the side. And then you can reverse the process. Let the So yeah, you're as if your heel is coming towards the other knee, and then you can slide the knee towards that other knee. So you're kind of flippering your whole leg towards the center, and then you let the foot fall out to the side and let the knee slide out to the side. Yeah, so that's it, exactly. But it can be incremental. It doesn't have to be big movements, just tiny movements. And then lower the foot down. And then your foot is then essentially going to start flipping out to the side. And if your pelvis begins to come off the floor, then you can either stack more books or turn the block onto the side and let that foot flipper right out to the side. And there again, you can bring your heel off the ground and just turn that foot on the toe just a little bit. And one thing you can do in this position is just let that be. Let it rest there. You can also bring your hand round and find your sits bone, and once again invite the meeting place of all those places. And then you can walk that foot back. and take that block out of the way. Really nice work. Okay. And then you can grab that block, pass it over behind, or someone can do that for you, some gentleman. And have a go with the other side. Interesting aspect of this is clocking how the pelvis moves around the sacrum. There is a certain amount of movement and leeway in there. Okay, so if you have explored that that leg enough, just walk that leg back. And the toes are exploring the space. So it is not that the knee is doing the thing. It is the toes exploring. In the great thing about I think about this stuff is this concept of fins, that the legs were fins in the deep, deep past. Fins, like, so your legs are like the whiskers of a cat. And the construct around that was built around the sensitivity of the ends of the fins. Of recognizing that security of those points of the pelvis, the pubic bone and the ischial structure, all really wrapping round the head of the femur. And bring your hands up by your head. I should say under your armpits, because just raise yourself up off the floor. Now, as we do this, just make sure your knees are not too far away from each other. I'll talk a little bit about this as we come back. But you're gonna send your tail back towards the wall behind and come up onto all fours and bringing your whole back up. And then when you're in that position and you're bringing the top of your head towards the chair, really let the weight of the pelvis inform the connection with the femur. So as you then swing that knee forwards, then you're gonna use this as a crawling meditation about connection of the leg with the pelvis. So, as the palm, you have this, the palm drifts forward in order for it to support the upper body. Let the knee come towards the center line and then out. So there is this movement of the hand to the center line, then out, and the knee to the center line, then out. The hand and the arm to the center line, then out. The knee to the center line, then out. And then when you get to the chair and you bring the foot up, then you're translating the weight through the foot, through the low leg, and there again into the pelvis. And in that median point, it's seeing if you can then translate the whole of the upper body into the pelvis, and then feeling the surety of that structure underneath you. The beauty of that that connection of the 3 points in the pelvis is that it's like the 3 is the magic number. There is a sturdy connection in there. And then just let yourself come up onto tippy toes if you like, or then just come on to the 3 points in the foot. So I'm just going to talk briefly about what we've done as far as the mapping of the pelvis. Is that if you just turn to look at me for a moment, you have the trochanter out here. We've talked about this before. And then you have this joining point in here where the fold is. But the femur, it comes from here and diagonally comes down. Sure. So this point, this joint point here, if you're hip width apart, your feet are not this far apart. Your feet are underneath this hip width. This is hip width. And so that comes over the knee and down between kind of the second and third toes. I think I've shown you the flesh arrow that exists in there. It's kind of in, you take your socks off, you'll see a flesh arrow. There is a flesh arrow. It's like the evolution gods gave you a this is a directional arrow. So if you stand with if you're walking with your legs apart, you're actually straightening the action of the leg. You're actually pulling the leg apart, so you end up walking like a cowboy. Yeah. So, and this action of the leg coming in to come out, is more in line with the system of the pelvis. Particularly if you think the trochanter is slightly further forward from the socket than at right angles to the socket.
Traditional
sword.
So great. Traditional EI sword footwork, did you say? Thanks for joining.